Hello everyone and welcome to the Masters Grand Prix interview room. Today's guest is UK M50 world-class Masters sprinter who has won many European and world titles along with setting world and UK records. So it's a privilege to introduce Jason Carty. So Jason, let's talk about your event. So we know you're a sprinter. So which is your events that you compete in?
I compete in 60, 100 and 200 metres.
Is there any of them that you find it's your main event?
I actually prefer the 100 metres, to be honest. 60 metres, I don't really enjoy it, but it's just part of the process. So
how many times a week do you train, Jason?
I train, well, at least 5 days a week, but not every one of those sessions are high intensity. But yeah, so I train 5 days a week. I'll say 3 high intensity and 2 low intensity. Right.
Does that include your gym work?
Yeah, so I'll do my high intensity and gym work on the same day. So I do a double session.
Oh, right. So you do 2 sessions in one day?
Yeah.
Right. So if we're talking about 60 metre indoors, example, in the winter training, so what would be your start of your training?
For me, I'll start training in September, but it'll be a very low. It'd be my GGP. So I'll just be doing general prep. So I'll just be doing loads of long runs, loads of stair work, just taking it back to the fundamentals. Really, I don't really do much running, so it'll just be loads of drills. Now we're moving into October. Now we're starting to do some. We're doing some longer runs, but me, I don't really run further than 60 meters. Because it's cold. so I'm indoors. So I have to mimic sessions and make sessions up. So, I might do like 12 60s of 1 minute. We'll walk back recovery and do stuff like that because I'm not going outside. I don't like the cold.
Same here, Jason. I dislike the cold. Is the 60s done at a certain percentage?
Yeah, so I'll move up to maybe like 70%. That's all I can do with 1 minute, otherwise I'd die. So yeah, it's done up a certain percentage, and then what you do, say you start off with like 12 to 15 60s, and then you start coming down through the month. So, and as you come down through the months, then the percentage of how fast you're doing them goes up, and then you open the rest time.
Right, okay. So it's obviously you build up your Swedish on, so obviously 70%, 80%, 90%, then obviously you come to more flat out work the closer you come to competition.
You start, once you get used to that, but now the only problem with that is that as you increase the intensity, obviously now you're going to need recovery because you're going up into such a high realm of how fast you're going.
Yeah.
So you've got to ensure that you move. Now you've got to make sure that you've got enough recovery from the last speed day to the next one. So in between that, you probably put in some endurance. So that's where you might have to, go onto the hill, wrap up with about 10,000 pieces of clothing on, and lower the intensity down so you can recover.
Right. So what would be typically a recovery session for yourself?
For me, so after I've done a hard session so my 2 big sessions are on Mondays and Fridays. So on a Saturday, I'll do like a 8 150 hills.
Yeah.
And it's horrible, but I do recover from it.
Right, excellent. So do you have a coach, Jason, or?
No. These are all sessions that I've devised and made for myself. I mean, I started in with my son, and I got him to run to quite a high standard, and then the group just expanded from there. So a lot of my stuff came from Charlie Francis. I based a lot of it from Charlie Francis, and I worked off that program, and then I just developed it myself of what I was seeing from the athletes that I had, especially with what you got to look at is the environment that we're in. So England, as you know, is predominantly quite cold. So you have to, so really the short to long program is the way to go for me personally. But if you had a different climate, you can definitely, maybe go to the long to short program. But no, for me, the short to long program works. And that's what primarily I use.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I think everyone's got to know about athletics. It's not all training suits everyone, does it? It's different people, and I suppose it's tapering it to what works for you, and I suppose that comes with years of experience.
Yeah, I mean, I've had certain athletes, and you can tell by their size and shape. You tell them to run. If you give them the long program, and they just don't develop, and they break down, they can't handle the load. So you've got to change stuff so it adapts to them, so they can improve. And also now, if you've got some coaches that use that more of a minimalist effect anyway, and it seems to work if you've got the gene pool, and you're able to tap into what you have naturally. You can get the right angles. Then some athletes can use that minimalist program, but I don't think nothing comes without hard work, to be honest.
Well, I think it suits different people. I mean, I know that there's an argument between short to long and long to short. I suppose, as you say,
Yes.
to find out what you get used to and what works for you. I'm going to touch a little bit on the gym side, on the weights things. So, as we talked about the track being, you go from doing 1260s with 1 minute. Would your gym sort of replicate that, where you do more circuit training and then build into power?
Yeah. In September, most definitely, I'm definitely focusing on. So because I've been doing this for so long, I will do hypertrophy for like 2 weeks in September, and that's it. I don't need to do anything longer than that because I'm naturally quite strong. So I will do 2 weeks of it. If you're quite if it's like 6 years plus if you've been doing gym, and then you want to move on and go back to specific now. I don't like Olympic lifts personally because I think you have to be able to have it's coming down to, you have to have fantastic technique. And so I just keep my lifts very simple. Just bench, trap bar and split squat, move around that. I don't do back squat anymore because it hurts my back. So, but I'm still able to, again, I progress the weights up because I'm still able to move some big numbers.
Right. So basically, you've adapted your weight training to suit your needs.
Yes.
And the trap bar, are we talking about deadlifts when we're talking about the trap bar?
Yes. Yes. So I still do trap bar, but I don't go. I still do deadlifts, but I don't go ridiculously mad like I used to when I was a lot younger. But I still go quite heavy, but not like I was. So I go heavy on the trap bar because I find it a lot safer, and I don't really get no reoccurrences on my back.
Yeah, so again, that's against injury risk then, isn't it? You find it less likely to get injured. Yes. So that's a fantastic...
Another thing is, I'm still able to bound. So I bound quite a lot.
So we're talking plyometrics now then, Jason?
Yeah, I do loads of plyometrics. So I'm still able to do that. And it doesn't really have an adverse effect on me. Like some people say it hurts their knees or No, it doesn't hurt me. I'm fine.
Now, does that depend on what type of plyometrics you're doing? Because we've got a high end of plyometrics and you've got a low form of plyometrics. So could you tell us what sort of plyometric you use that suits you?
I do most of them, but you've got to program them in, and obviously don't overload it, especially when you go in at that high intensity. So you've got to program it in the right way, so therefore it fits the program. So it's just programming. So I do box jumps, low box jumps. Because some people say, I've seen some people on their Facebook or on the net, and they're doing the big stack. And when you're doing the big stack, it's fine. But what you've got to remember is that they'll get onto the stack, and their bottoms will drop under their below parallel, and they think they've done something that's really great. But really, the dispensation of power is gone. So go into a low box and not drop into parallel, you'll be surprised how much power you're actually using because now you're utilizing it in the right way. So you've got to look at the science behind why they're doing it and when you're doing it. So when you're doing that, then you'll get more out of your program.
Yes, I think that's definitely key to it, Jason, is researching what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I have test days. So do you have any sort of test days? Like, would you do a standing long jump to see where you are, or do you anything like that?
I think test days work. I don't personally do them, but I do test runs. So like in December, I know I'll have a group of people down. I get the timing gates out, and we'll time our run. So I know what's going to happen. Off that, I know exactly what's going to happen in March, January. Well, from March, February, March, I know what I'm going to run.
Fantastic. Do you use video analysis at all?
Yes, I use video analysis. I look at how technical my runners run. Even myself, I look at the technical side of what's going on, what I'm doing, and try and break it down. But I think for me, science is everything. So, I look at, especially in the winter time, I look at the 10 meters, 20 meters. I'm constantly measuring. I don't stop measuring.
And I imagine there you're always looking for that slight improvement. Even as you're getting older, you're still looking to see how you can improve.
That's right. So what I found is, as I was getting older, I had to become more technical, because I didn't have, even though I'm quite powerful naturally, the tendons don't deliver the way they were before. So now you've got to look at stuff. Well, can you be more technical? Can you get out the blocks, and are you utilising the blocks in the right manner? Where are you at? Can you? It's just fixing small little things, and that's what makes you more of a. But saying that, I still think that, when you're class in the sense whereby, you've ran like 21 over the 200 and at quite a good age. So that's just class. You can't change that. When I say class, that's genetics as well.
Well, yeah, that's it. We've got natural talent, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got natural talent.
There's nothing. Yeah, there's no two ways about that. When people say, "Oh, how come you just suddenly improved?" But my son runs 6'7" over 60.
Yes.
So where is it? It's something there. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
so
because I've got to look at it, because obviously 6'7" is quick for your son, but you never ran as a younger athlete, did you?
No, I never ran at all. But I was always, in the graded stuff. So when I was like between 8 and 9, I ran for the district, and I was always first or top 3. But when I went to school, I never pursued it. I just stopped. I just my teacher, the PE teacher, knew I was fast, but I just couldn't be bothered. I was like, I don't want to run.
Distractions of life there, Jason.
Yeah.
Distractions of life.
All I did, I kept myself fit. I played a little bit of football, and then at 33, when I was working up in Uxbridge, a lady saw me running. I just thought, let me just do a bit of sprinting, and she said, "Oh, do you want to join my group?" And then it just started from there.
And so, is that how you got into Masters Athletics? How did you become to get into the Masters?
Yeah, and when I at 35, I thought, let me just have a little go, and that's when I embarked on the like you and Mark Dunwell, and it was funny, because in the first couple of races I didn't even know what was going on. Like I was getting to the blocks, and it was just a blur. I didn't understand. I didn't know nothing. I didn't understand dry phase. I didn't understand. So that's why, in retrospect, me running fast now, it kind of makes sense, because from 33, 15 years, it takes a while, doesn't it? So when you're a junior, you maybe start at 15, and then within by 22, 23, you're running well. So if you think of it now, that's what's happened to me, really. It was always there. I just know what I was doing. And sometimes, again, you've got to respect your fellow athletes. I mean, you guys were at such a high standard, and it was almost like I had the ability, but it was for me to learn. And you can't disrespect what you guys have done and where you're coming from. So, it's just a learning curve.
So was that a part of your driving force then, to look at, evaluate yourself and think, do you know what, I think I could do better and push these guys more? Was that a little bit of a motivation or drive for you?
But I always thought I could do better, but you got to respect. I mean, I think anyone, even yourself and the better runners, would have gone through the same process, because you've got to learn your trade. You've got to learn the trade, and you've got to, you put in hours and hours of training, and I have to respect that. If I haven't put in, even though I've got this natural ability, but you've got it as well, so all of a sudden now, you've got the edge, because you've got them a couple more years. So now it's just like, once I've got the training hours behind me, then it kind of puts us more on a level playing field.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go back to when I first met you, which, if memory serves me correct, was Riccione, Italy in 2007.
Yes.
Is that correct? Right. Is that your first major competition in the Masters?
That was my first major competition, and And again, so what people don't understand is there's the training side of it.
Yep.
But if you've never been into a call room and you're sitting there trying to gather your thoughts and put the race together, that again in itself is an experience.
Yes, I totally agree. Because I say to everyone, every level you go through, you get experience, whether that's going through the heats to the semi to the final. And as you go higher, a little bit more pressure comes on, and then it's dealing with the pressure. Right. And I always say to athletes, get to the final, and that's where you gain experience.
Definitely. And also what people don't seem to understand is like, you know, if you said to me, oh, what was one of your greatest achievements? But one of my greatest achievements for me was when we went to Lyon, and even though I didn't win, it was satisfying because I medalled for the first time as outdoors. Yes. Everyone knew me as an indoor specialist, yes. And I didn't think I was an indoor specialist, and then I medalled outdoors, and once I learned how to do that, that was it. 100 meters became easy. 200 I still hate, but it's not so hard, and if you do the right stuff, then you're going to get the results.
Yeah, Coach. I mean, going back to 2015 Lyon, I remember it very well, and it was to me, I didn't run such a great 200 meters, but the 100 meters, okay. I thought I couldn't have done any more, and I thought it was a terrific race. I mean, it was the final. I think was it 0-2 between the three of us.
Yeah. But I actually think for your 200, you could have run a better final, but I think you was going for the record every single round. That's not good. That's not good. Not a champs.
Do you know, Jason? Do you know part of that though? It was a learning curve for me.
Okay.
Because I think I could do it in my earlier 40s. Yes. But as I'm getting older, I found that the rounds take a little bit more out of you. And
the rounds are deadly. I mean, and the heat. That heat. Remember how hot it was?
Yeah, it was 40 odd degrees, if I remember rightly.
My future goals is, can I get the M50 record down a little bit more for the British record?
100 metres.
I want to try and...
100 metres is that, Jason. Thank you.
Oh, the 100 metres, yeah, definitely. I try and do that one. But the indoors, I want to do the indoor record. To get that down a little bit further down, because the guys that are coming, they're quite good. So get that down a bit more. The world record would be nice, but that's a bit toasty, that one. 10:88 at 50.
Oh, and I think yeah. Sub 11 seconds in your 50s is something special in my eyes.
That's moving. Yeah, and that's really good.
Yeah, but again, his level is. I think he ran 9.8 in his day.
Oof. Yeah,
I think it might have been windy, but it was around 9.8. But these are some of the guys that we inspire to. So, have you got anyone who inspires you, Jason, or an athlete?
You got to look at the big man Bolt. Like he was amazing, wasn't he?
Oh, he was fantastic. So, does he inspire you? Is he one of your legends you'd put there?
You know what? To be honest, there are so many great athletes even on the field events, and when people understand what goes behind how fast we actually run, a lot of the people who are winning medals, they are putting in hours. And I know that for a fact. You're not putting in minutes, you're putting in hours. And it's dedication. When you've done even you personally, when you've done your world records, or even when you're running what we're running now, it is slightly a cut above the rest. So we're putting in some training time. So, but going back to your question, talking about any athlete who's running or throwing at those levels are just amazing. So I just respect them all, to be honest. To be out there.
Yeah. I think that's what I appreciate them all from whatever event, because to be at the top of your game, you know how much hard work you put in, because it's not easy. You've got the talent, but you've got to put the work in.
Because even though like we might see a long jumper, and for me, I actually coach what I do. Like I do some stuff with with John Shepherd, we do a little bit of coach sharing. So I might do some of the sprint side, and then they'll go to John and he'll give them that technical side for jumping. And it's so good how you can put things together. And then when you see the final product and they do a PB, you're like, there you go. But it's work.
It's great satisfaction. The other thing I'm going to touch on, Jason. What is your thoughts on Masters Athletics? If you could promote Masters Athletics, what would be your words to other people out there that maybe not have got into Masters just yet or have just arrived in it?
For me, I think that when you're training, you need a goal. You need something to train for. Yeah. So when you know there's an important race, or the only thing that makes it difficult is when you're going to go to the international events, which is quite difficult if you haven't got the financial backing behind you. Yeah. But when you've got something to train for, and when you see how happy it is and how satisfying it is to win a medal, or even get to a semi or to a final, depending on your level, that's the greatest achievement.
Yeah, that's definitely the greatest achievement. And I think what I love about it is anyone can go, any one level can participate, and I think that's what I like. And I like what I found is it's very friendly, the Masters Athletics. That's what
it is. Well, sometimes. Because I've seen some of them women froth when they're not winning. Woo!
I know, but most of the time, I found it, to be honest with you, that most people are friendly. And like yourself, I'm always trying to give advice. If I can give advice to someone, I will do.
Yes.
I'm always willing to help others because I think it's just a lovely environment. Personally, I can't speak for the women out there, but I'm sure I'll get to know a little bit more of the women's side, especially the relays cause problems. We do know. So outside of your track and field, is there any other hobbies that you do, Jason?
Not anymore. I mean, I used to go to the recording studio when I was a lot younger, but not anymore.
Right, okay, to do what?
To do music.
What type of music would that be then, Jason? What type of music?
I used to do drum and bass.
All right.
I used to do drum and bass, yeah. But right now I just coach my little son. Like he does football, so we've been doing a lot of football. I do a lot of football with him.
That's fantastic.
And I help manage a football team as well.
Oh, well, there you go. There are many strings to your bow then, Jason. I'm going to touch on a few other things. Do you find that with party training, do you use massage and physios a lot to keep on top of your injuries?
Yeah, definitely. You need to have you need to have 1 to 2 massages a week. And you've got to really, as you get older, you've got to look about how you can incorporate more flexibility into your training, into your program. So on your rest days, you want to, if you do yoga, some people do yoga and different poses. But yes, myofascial release, and that's a big part of my training.
Right, that's fantastic. I'm going to ask another couple of questions. One, can you give me a typical track session you would do for 100 meters?
There's a nice track session that I do. So you might do, you come in, you warm up, you do your myofascial stuff, and then you do a little bit of plyos, and then you move over to go outside, and then we'll set the timing gates up, and we'll do like a session, to say like a 110. So you put the gates at 100 meters, then you put it at the finish, and then you start at 110, and you do 3 of those or 15 minutes.
So it's pretty much, would that be more like flat out speed then?
Flat out.
100% flat out. And you find that as a good session, it works for you?
Oh, it works for me, 100%. And again, because I'm testing, I know what I'm going to run before I've even run it. But I know what I'm going to run on race day. So I always know what I'm going to run. I'm never far off.
Okay. Just a little touch on stretching. Would you do stretching before or after your workouts? Stretching will always be done after a workout, never before. So would you recommend things like drills would be more useful?
So dynamic warm-up is the way forward. I mean, you can stretch from the night before as long as it's not too deep. But again, you've got to know and put together the right sequence. Otherwise, you're going to come out and be flat.
Yeah. The other question: do you have ice baths?
Yes, only. I don't really do them during the season, but when we're going through rounds, I'd have an ice bath.
Oh, I don't know how people do it. don't know. It's
Yeah.
just really
Yeah, to
hard
get through,
work.
especially ice baths have to be done. Otherwise, I just feel flat. Otherwise, you don't do them now.
No, I do very, very rarely. I found that I struggle even the next day after them. They're just awful to do. I found that I'd rather have heat than cold. But I know the benefits.
Okay.
I know the benefits of having a cold bath or an ice bath. What's it? Another question.
When I was in Lyon, they helped a lot. That helped me a lot to get through the round, because that's when you're doing 6 rounds. But Malaga, I was fine. Like I did the contrast, and Malaga I didn't find Malaga that hard, to be honest.
No, you ran fantastic in Malaga at the World Championships. I mean, the time that you ran was just phenomenal. I think 11:01 at M45 at 49 years old, may I say, and just missing the European record, which I think was 11:00.
Yeah, I know. And if I had a +1 or +2, it would have been perfect. I would have. And to be honest, in that race, no disrespect to the competitors, I just think if I had felt someone come out with me a little bit harder, I probably would have pushed on. But when I look back, I just felt like there was no one there, which made it a bit difficult. I like it when someone's breathing down my ear roll.
Yeah, because it drives you more, doesn't it? And it gives you that little bit more. Yeah. That thing going into champion, you can look at the name list and then straight away you look at there, or I've done before, thinking I've got a race. I mean, I always believe I train to have the best in my race, regardless. If I go to Lyon, go to Malaga, then I'll say the best are going to be there, because that's how you've got to, you've got to be.
And some people in the races, they might come out and give you because it's the champs and they've got all that adrenaline. All of a sudden now they're giving you 120%. So they find a performance that they never had before, and you're thinking, you've got to cover that. You've got to cover that.
Well,
you don't get surprised.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing I'm going to touch on is, do you take any vitamins or supplements to aid?
Vitamins. Yeah, I get a bit of the sun. I get my vitamin D.
Yeah, vitamin D. I mean, I hear a lot of athletes take the proteins, don't they? That's what I usually know.
I don't do protein anymore. I stay away from that, but I do. I just take the normal stuff: vitamin D, C.
Like a multivitamin, then, Jason.
I don't take the multivitamin. All my vitamins are separate. For my Achilles at the minute, I'm on magnesium, and I've triple dosed it because I triple dose on the magnesium while my Achilles is still healing. What else? And zinc for Achilles as well. But that's what I really take.
Well, that's good to know. I'm sure everyone out there is just fascinated what you do. Final question to you: Have you had to alter your training as you're getting older? Because obviously you started at 30, at 33. Has your training developed as in less intensity? Or how have you gone about altering your training to suit your needs over the years?
Yes. Because I still train with my guys. If I give them 6 runs, I might do 4. But with the speed stuff, I generally still do. So for the endurance, I cut it down a little bit. But with the speed stuff, I still do the same amount of runs. So if you've got 1060s at a high intensity, all of us will generally get 8 done.
Right. So you've listened. Listened to your body, yeah.
Yeah. So for speed, I'm still on it. But for endurance, I've got to be so careful with that. Like anything over 250. And it starts to, you got to count how much meters you want to go. So maybe if I'm going to do a 250 session, I'll probably maximum be 3.
Right. Okay. Well, it's been fantastic talking to you, Jason. I'm sure there's a lot of insights for people, and I hope people take some good notes out of there. Is there anything you'd like to finish on? Any inspirational words out there? And I do know before I go that you had lung cancer, come out of that and become a special athlete as well. So for me, that's inspirational in itself.
Thanks, big man. Thank you. No, just train hard, and hopefully we can all get to compete again.
Well,
it's not looking likely right now, is it?
Yeah, no. Let's hope we get back to it soon. Right, you take care, Jason. Thank you for the interview. It's been a pleasure, and I'll hopefully catch up with you soon.
No worries, big man. No worries.
Top man.
Please.
Thank you.
Nice.